We've already been chattering for a few minutes, so you missed all the good pre-show stuff. Sorry.
That's right, guys. You get it on the Save It for the Podcast.
We did.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better bring next on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son.
Greetings, true believers, and welcome to the Pull List Podcast, your bi-weekly podcast about comics, faith, and culture. My name is Hector Mirai, and I am joined by the magnanimous Todd Turner of Mosaic Fan Art. And we're here to talk with you about comics, faith, pop culture, news, and all the shenanigans in between.
Yeah.
Todd, how you been, dude?
I'm okay. You're not going to tell everybody to wash their hands?
Did I do that last time?
You did, because they're about to get pulled.
Oh. I'll say we'll do some chit chat and then I'll tell you.
Alrighty. Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm excited for DC All In and One World Under Doom coming soon.
Yeah, I might need to subscribe to that, to the Doom one. But yeah, All In's gonna. Which one's and Absolute's like the Ultimate Universe, right?
The Absolute is going to be like the Ultimate Universe, yeah.
By the way, it's a bit older. I've watched a fair amount of DC animated stuff this past few weeks.
Okay.
Have you? And it's not everybody's jam, and it's borderline demonic, so you could take that with a grain of holy salt. But Batman Doom, or the Doom that came to Gotham.
I may have watched it. Is that the one with John Constantine in it?
No, that's like Dark.
That's the one with Dark Side.
Dark Side, yeah.
All
right, so this is a more recent one.
Okay.
And it's one set, let's say 1900. But it's Batman and Cthulhu.
Oh, wow. Okay,
like it's
then.
Full Lovecraft and stuff.
That's crazy.
And it feels like an episode of like True Detective or American
Horror Story.
But it starts off with Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson, and it took me until seeing his name in print, but they Johnny quested Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. So Dick Grayson was the Johnny Quest, and Jason was
the Punjab.
Yes, he was Sanjay, like Jason. He was
Sanjay.
My gosh,
that's horrible.
Todd, Thawd.
Oh wow. Okay, well.
But they also had Cassandra Cain, and they also had like another.
Everybody else had their regular names except for poor Jason Todd,
and he was Sanjay Todd.
The Roja. What's the word for hood? I don't know.
Yeah, and it was like I was like, what?
Roja
but they were
cover?
Straight up. They were going for the Johnny Quest vibe of like he's collected a group of ragtag orphans from around the world.
Well, that's Batman for you.
Yeah, and but it falls down to the fact that on an expedition into the Arctic, Oswald Cobblepot and somebody else uncovers basically a frozen Cthulhu.
Sort of like The Thing.
Yes,
John Carpenter's The
Thing. Very
much.
much. And it starts to come back to Gotham, and he's very like, nah, science. And then Etrigan shows up.
Nah, science. Does he rhyme? Because if Etrigan's not rhyming, I don't.
He does rhyme. But then Oliver Queen is
holy cow, it's got everybody in there.
It does, dude. And this
it's like Justice League Dark.
This may be, but it's all 1900 Justice League. But this has potentially the best Oliver Queen I've seen represented in a long time.
Well, okay.
It's also got the Al Ghouls. It's got some Cthulhu-ized villains and stuff like that, but it really does boil down to like a very H.P. Lovecraftian story. And I watched it, just putting it on when I was like doing some mindless work, and I was like, this will be just something to skim through. And
So
dang
you
it,
actually had to pay attention.
it was actually probably one of the better DC animated pieces I've watched in a minute.
Okay.
So,
Well, I know
like,
that the final chapter of Crisis is supposed to be dropping here soon. So
mm, good. And I also watched Justice League, or no, Suicide Squad Isekai.
I think you're just making stuff up.
I have y'all are just go looking on Max for this stuff. And it's like this isn't real. No, they made a Suicide Squad anime where the Suicide Squad is sent into another dimension, which is basically Dungeons and Dragons
Oh, fun.
level stuff,
Yeah.
and they have to help liberate this Dungeons and Dragons level kingdom, and also keep making it back to a portal to reactivate their bombs before they blow up.
Sounds like a video game right there. It's what
It
it
does,
sounds
and it
like
would
to
have
me.
been better than the Suicide Squad video game. But the end credits involves Amanda Waller doing a seductive dance.
Oh, that's nasty. No,
But it's not like scandalous, but she's like,
that's terrible.
it's
That's
so
terrible. If
weird,
any of
bro.
you all are just listening to this on the podcast, you need to go watch the video on Glue or on the YouTube to see
YouTube's.
Hector's impression of Amanda Waller doing a seductive dance.
Now, but here's the deal.
Well
If
worth
you
the price of
watch that
admission.
clip, you'll think I'm accurate.
It can't be any worse than Tom Cruise doing the Tropic Thunder dance.
Bro, that is one of the funniest
That
things
is
of
hilarious.
all times. I like
Yes.
beep beep whoop whoop.
Les Grossman.
And the fact that he insisted on the prosthetic
I
knuckles.
know. That is hilarious.
Um, I
Shout
digress.
out to the guy. I know. We're falling away out the.
So, uh, wash your hands because
You're about to get
get
pulled.
pulled. Yeah, you're about to get pulled. Okay. What?
Bring out the Germex.
Bring out the Sherpex. What news do you have for us, Todd?
Um, so we briefly talked about some of this stuff, but Hellboy is going straight to streaming.
In America.
Oh, really?
In America.
I got it. So October the 8th for 19.99, you can have it on Amazon.
It comes out in theaters in the UK Friday.
Oh, this week.
Tomorrow. Like, well,
I
tomorrow
wonder why
when
they're
we're
not
recording it.
I wonder why they're not dropping it here. I guess they just don't think it'll have enough
Well,
people to
I
go
don't
see.
think it's an American production.
Okay.
So I think it would cost more to drop in America and to promote it. And here's the deal. If they're ready to put it out in theaters in the UK and they haven't promoted it more than they have here, there's
Oh
no
yeah,
way it's going to
there's
function.
no way. Nobody would go
And
see
you're
it.
going up against stuff like The Wild Robot, which is dropping this weekend.
What looks great, by the way.
Oh, can't wait to cry. It's going to be wonderful.
I know. It's awesome.
But yeah, it's going straight to streaming for America.
America
America.
streaming.
I
Yeah,
never
but you can
watched
pre-order.
the David Harbour Hellboy.
I did. Not great. I mean, it was okay. I think the problem with it was that we were so used to seeing Ron Perlman as Hellboy that seeing David Harbour as him he looked like it didn't look good.
Well, here is, and I mean zero shade in this statement. This is just my perspective. Anytime any nerd thing you add Mila Jovovich to, you are not adding credit.
Oh, come on, man. Fifth Element's amazing.
Past that.
Okay. Lilu Multipass?
I will give her Fifth Element all day long. And I understand that she worked hard on the Resident Evil movies, but those weren't Resident Evil movies.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Raccoon City.
That was a Mila Jovovich vehicle. Now the first one was pretty accurate-ish for a fictional story, but like there's so much story and lore to the Resident Evil franchise that if you're creating original characters to tell your movies, you're wasting resources.
From a guy who's never played the video game, I would watch a Resident Evil movie any day, just because it just is like a end of, a Fall of Man zombie flick is basically what it feels like. So I wouldn't watch it for her. I watched it for just that Fall of Man zombie vibe. So anyway, so yep, it's going to be on streaming on Amazon. You can go ahead and pre-order it now.
For
I
Hellboy.
don't. Yeah.
Well, I will watch it. I fully intend to watch it, but I
I will
should
probably
go
watch it,
back
but
and.
I'm not going to pay $20 though. I'll wait.
Oh yeah.
I'm a cheapskate.
I do need to go back and watch the David Harbour one though.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that's what I have to say. What kind of
Uh,
news you got, brother? We gonna go back and forth?
yeah, sure. Let's see. Where do I just put my news? There is a Marvel's launching a Rogue Savage Land limited series in 2025 of
Okay,
January.
I did hear this.
Yep.
This has full 90s vibes to me. Like the Fleer big
Trading
bathing
cards.
suit trading cards. Yes. So the last time I remember her being in the Savage Land, she and Magneto had a thing going on. So I'm wondering, is this set in continuity? Is this a
Because it's a limited series, I highly doubt it.
yeah,
This might be set from when she was there with Magneto.
gotcha. See, that's what they're doing with that Wolverine Revenge book. I bought that because Jonathan Hickman and Capullo were drawing and writing it, and then I bought it and I felt like I was bait and switched. It was like, yeah, this is Wolverine, but it has nothing to do with anything. It's just I want to tell a story, and it's I don't know. As an old guy, I sort of want to have my books to have meaning. I guess I'm saying this about fictional characters. I want my books to have meaning. So
Listen, fiction has meaning, dude.
it does. I know. Yeah. James Gunn is supposedly working on a Superman book for DC for 2025. That's the rumor, and it's rumored to be drawn by Jim Lee.
Well, if you're gonna say I believe in Harvey Dent, that's one way to do it, is to get Jim Lee to draw your book.
There you go. I know.
It's like saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
I support your movies and such here." Now, but I will stand firmly by this. And what's one of the reasons why I'm comfortable with James Gunn making this Superman movie is James Gunn knows this crap really well.
Yeah, he
And
does.
did you ever watch Brightburn?
Uh, no, no. I did watch the first 40 minutes of the one with the super where they like one of his first movies with uh what Dwight as wanting to be a superhero.
Super? Yeah.
Yeah, super. That was a pretty good movie.
Well, you only watched the first 30 minutes of that?
Yeah, 30-40 minutes. Yeah, that's about as far as I
Oh
got.
no, you need like I would
It was a
I'm not
little uncomfortable. I was a little uncomfortable in it, so I was like,
as you will be, and trust me, if you only watch the first 30 minutes, you'll be much more uncomfortable.
okay, well there you go. So maybe I should just stay away. Just go with what I've got. But anyway, you said if I have seen Brightburn.
So
I have not,
Brightburn
but I know
technically does take place in the same universe as Super,
okay. All right.
but only because of one TV thing. But Brightburn is what if,
Like Superman was a psycho kid.
yeah, it's what if Clark Kent landed, and it gives you the same Ma and Pa story,
Mhm.
but the kid's evil.
Yeah.
And so it goes, what if Clark Kent was a horror movie? And
Yeah, that's
it
bad.
it ends that way. Um
Man.
and but like at the end of the film, it's talking about like in the as the credits are rolling, you see a news broadcast talking about this kid who's evil Superman, and the Crimson Bolt is in the bottom left corner
Nice. Okay.
as a listing of it. But yeah, Brightburn is here's where I was going with that. Brightburn was a better Superman movie than half the Superman movies.
Well, Mark Wade let it slip on a podcast, I think this week, that because they were talking to him about James Gunn doing Superman and all that, and he's like, "Listen, he knows his stuff. I mean, he's putting a dog in it with heat vision coming out of his eyes, so it's like, oh, it's for sure that Crypto will be in the Superman movie, and we will see Crypto use heat vision. That's per Mark Wade.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they had hinted that he had the dog, but which means I hope Crypto shows up in the Supergirl show movie, whatever the heck it's supposed to be.
Well, it would have to because Crypto's the main character.
Yeah, I
And
mean, he gets
super
sort of that's her motivation for going after the person in the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Now I
So,
will say this, the young lady who's playing Supergirl is
mhm,
phenomenal on House of Dragon.
okay. They just
Oh,
announced who the villain was going to be, who that guy was, and I wasn't familiar with him. So
who is it?
I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
write it down because I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
That's what old farts do. Get
On
off my lawn.
on more superhero casting and cinematic news, um, the world of the boys got another big nerd name added to its roster this week. David Diggs
I saw that.
of Hamilton and Snowpiercer is now going to be playing a role in the final season of The Boys.
Okay.
So that's fun.
Which I couldn't do.
You should not. That
Yeah.
is that is
That's
not
definitely an adulty show.
that
And
is
it's not even for all adults.
no. That
So
is for
I tried.
as the scriptures say, for those with seared consciences.
I tried. I wanted to give it a good old college try, but
Oh no, bro.
no, I couldn't do it.
That is
It's
not your I would
it's not
that
my
would be
jam.
that's a no-no.
Yeah. Um Absolute Batman is our number one has already gone back for second printing.
Good.
So they put it at over 250,000 copies. So 250,000 copies of Absolute Batman number one. So there goes my, wanting to speculate. Nobody would know about the book, and I would buy a bunch of them and then sell them later but that's not going to
Yeah, I
happen.
don't think that's
So,
gonna work, bro.
yeah, it's sort of like all my multiple issues of X-Force number one polybagged to downstairs, my 20 copies. They're not really worth that much, except for the one that has the Deadpool card in it, other than that. So,
And
yeah.
we also got wait, you just said something, right? Um
Yeah.
and we also got our casting for Hal Jordan for the Green Lantern TV series.
Yeah. Kyle MacLachlan, right?
I forget his last name, but yeah, dude from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. I think that'll be good.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah. It's solid. It's not like a wow, but I mean, the dude can act.
Yeah. Between him and Greg Kinnear, I could see anything
As long as Nathan Fillion doesn't drop out being Guy Gardner, it's all cool.
yeah. If Nathan Fillion would be a fantastic Hal Jordan, but I'm excited to see him be Guy Gardner. So.
Yeah, you're right. He would be a fantastic guy. Hal Jordan. Put him back in that leather bomber jacket. He'd look like, the dude from Firefly almost.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's played Hal Jordan a handful of times.
No, really? Oh, voice acting.
Voice acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's played Hal Jordan a handful of times, and I want to think in the video game Injustice.
Really?
I think he was Hal Jordan in that as well.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, Alan Tudyk was Green Arrow in Injustice.
That's so good.
Was with the classic,
yes,
vibe.
the Green Arrow. Great. Yeah, that's so
but
good.
Then they released the Stephen Amell thing.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if I think this has happened since we did the last podcast. Did you see the stuff with Stephen Amell and
nothing.
Peacemaker and James Gunn?
No.
Stephen Amell went on a podcast and was very offended and upset and took great comeuppance with James Gunn and John Cena for a Green Arrow joke in Peacemaker season 1.
Okay, so I watched Peacemaker season 1 like 2 or 3 times. I don't remember the joke.
Whoa. You watched that show more than once?
Yeah. 100%.
One time. It's it's not even like a big long joke. It's just like when what's the
I mean, goodness gracious, they make all the jokes about Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that Jason Momoa didn't come out and say anything. But dude, it's come on.
But my problem is that he took it as offense of them
like it's an attack on him
or the CW shows. I was like,
oh,
they attacked every major DC character. It's about the character, not you, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody's, and I hate to say it this way, but nobody's thinking about you.
I didn't.
Right.
No.
But he said that Green Arrow goes to Brony conventions as the back half of a Twilight Sparkle costume.
Oh, nice.
And
Twilight Sparkle costume.
Or something to that effect. But it was like, it wasn't a CW
a throwaway
joke.
It was a throwaway joke too.
It was probably something that John Cena made up off the cuff. But like,
yeah, probably so.
He took it as James Gunn intentionally crapping on the CW verse.
My money's on John Cena in that fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My last piece of news is about Mark Millar because I know we're all excited to hear about him again. Um, so apparently he's been in the talks of writing a Superman story for DC. He's supposed to be writing one for next year, but then Marvel came up to him and said, "We want you to do something." And he's like, "Well, if I'm going to do something, I want it to be big. I want it to be bigger than Civil War." And they're like, "Fine, you can do something, whatever you want." And he goes, "But I got to do the Superman thing." And then a friend of his like, "Well, like Superman's going to go public domain in 9 years. Why don't you wait? And that way you can write your Superman story any way you want without any editorial interference from DC and go ahead and do the Marvel story book now." So there you go. He's apparently going to be writing a big thing for Marvel. I don't know that I really care.
And I don't think that's right that it's going to go public domain either.
That's what they were saying. I don't know. Who knows? Oh, I did have one more piece of news.
Go for it.
Did you hear about the documentary on Kingdom Come?
Yes.
So that looks there. It was a Kickstarter, and there's going to be a documentary come out about the making of Kingdom Come, and how basically this Alex Ross's concept. Mark Waid was not the first author that he wanted to do, but that it's set in a desk for so daggone long that they just didn't want to touch it. So I don't know. But now there's going to be documentaries, so I can't wait to watch it. That was it. I don't know if that's relevant or not, but
hey, it's one of the most classic comics. So
I love it. I picked up 4 issues at a half price books. They were like all 4 together. It was like $10. So I was like, bought them, took them home, opened them up. All 4 of them are autographed by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. So I have a friend who's like an amazing Alex Ross fan. And I was like, "Tell me, are these legit?" And he's like, "That's legit. That's his autograph, 100%. If it's not, then somebody did an amazing job copying it." So yeah, they're all 4 autographed.
I've got mine autographed by Mark Waid, but yeah,
it's inside the cover.
Nice.
So I know it's nice. Anyway, that's all I got. What else you got? Anything?
I don't have any more news. So
all right, man.
Ready to jump into it?
Let's do it.
All right. What's your first pull?
My first pull is I had 2 that I was choosing and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I read 2 books where at the end they introduce a new ongoing book and a new team. The Avengers Annual introduced a new Infinity Watch. So I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but the Infinity Stones have they've chosen people, and there's a new Infinity Stone. It's the Death Stone, and they reincarnated Coulson. Agent Coulson is back.
Oh, nice.
And he has the Death Stone. So there's going to be a new Infinity Watch comic launched at the end of the year. But the one I really wanted to hit on most was a book that Chris isn't here to defend himself. Sorry, Chris. But that Chris reviewed the first issue and didn't like it at all. It's Outsiders, issue 11 by DC. And this is the end of the run. It's 11 issues. And Outsiders has basically been a meta book all this time about writing stories, forgotten characters, characters that have outlived their usefulness in DC lore or whatever. And one of the characters who was a member of the Outsiders ended up being Chiquita Wagner, who was one of the main characters in Planetary, which I've mentioned millions of times as I think is the best solid run. Anyway, so at the end of this book, Chiquita Wagner has decided she wants to get basically the Wildstorm books back, right? Because Planetary was under isn't that right? The Wildstorm imprint for DC.
Yeah.
To get her group back, and so she's going to wipe out all fiction, basically, all the characters, and recreate the Wildstorm universe. And at the end, of course, she doesn't. And um, Duke and Batwoman and Lucius Fox all, come together at the end and convince her not to. And she sees her change of ways anyway, and she basically disappears. And this um, new group is being formed out in the ether, and they just hint at them at the end of the book about a guy who can talk to cities, and another guy who does all this mystical stuff, and someone who's engineering things. So they're basically going to reintroduce the Authority. We're going to get a new Authority book, and it makes sense considering they're doing a movie, right, or a show.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're hinting at each one of these characters, and so next year we will see a new Authority comic book come out, which I loved the old Authority book with Jenny Sparks and the Midnighter and Apollo and the Engineer and the Doctor and a couple other characters that I can't remember their names. But anyway, so yeah, Outsiders, number 11. Pick it up when it comes out in trade, or read it when you get a chance, because it's a real deep book. It's not like a fun book. It was fun for me because it had a lot of nostalgia in it, and it hit back to the old Planetary. But it's very, very, very meta. So yeah, that's my first one.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you with a haymaker that you're not expecting,
Uh-oh.
that I think is gonna be something you buy before this podcast is over.
What?
Ready?
Yeah.
Shabam. Have you heard of this? It is
Myth?
called The Mythmakers.
No. Mm-mm.
This is a hardback graphic novel that released straight to hardback, and it is a storytelling apparatus of the history and friendship between C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien,
Oh
as
yeah, sold. Sold.
as told by personifications of themselves. And it
Amazon.
and it walks you through their complete history. Now, check how cute this art is.
Oh yeah,
C.S.
that's good.
Lewis, his archetype is depicted. Now they do realistic ones, like they'll show you
Hmm.
real C.S. Lewis and real Clive, or real Tolkien. But C.S. Lewis is depicted as a lion in a cardigan,
Nice. It was like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
and Tolkien is depicted as a nerdy wizard.
I see that. Yeah.
And
Wow.
it literally goes through their family history, their time serving in the war, what the stuff that drove a wedge between them,
Mm.
um, down to like when they struggled with their own books, stuff like that. And it literally goes through uh their
Where
whole.
did you hear about this?
Okay, I'm about to tell you. One of my favorite creators is a dude named Paul who does sketchy sermons.
Oh yeah, I've heard you talk about that.
Okay, so Sketchy Sermons posted this book, and he posted it, and I'm like, just said, dang it, as soon as he posted it. And sure enough, I bought it. Now, let me tell you how delightful of a read this was. Um, Trying to find a accurate depiction of them real quick in here. So
Christmas list. Any of you people out there, Todd Turner, Christmas list. Put it on it. Give it to
so
me.
like here's the realistic depictions of them
Oh, I
too.
see that. Yeah, really good. That's cool.
So here's how good this was. I read this in one sitting today.
Holy cow! Because it's got some words.
Yeah, it's girthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's 200 pages and some change. I read this whole thing. I opened it up the minute it got to my house from Amazon and read the whole thing.
All
Um,
right.
But this was a freaking delight. But Paul from Sketchy Sermons
Way to go.
posted it, and all he mentioned, and I was like, "What is that?" And he said it's about the friendship between Lewis and Tolkien. I'm like you said, sold. Um, Dude, I teared up. I smiled. Uh, I just watched the C.S. Lewis play Further Up and Further In a few months back, where it told about his motorcycle ride. They don't shy away from his conversion, deep conversion to God. I learned stuff about both of them I never knew before.
That's awesome. Well,
Um,
that's
so
what comics are for. We're here
in
to teach
terms
you
of
lessons.
surprising graphic novels, this reminded me of that one that you told me to read or sent to me,
The basketball
the
one.
basketball one.
Hoop, dragon hoops. Dragon
Yeah,
hoops.
Dragon Hoops. This
Yeah.
has Dragon Hoop vibes.
Oh, cool. Awesome. All right.
If we weren't doing this podcast, I would have just mailed you one. But but
Crap.
I got this and I read it today, and I was like, I hope this comes in time, and I hope I can read it.
Oh
And
man, that's awesome.
so here's how much I wanted to read this. The new Legend of Zelda game came out today,
Oh,
and I
and you
read this
didn't do it.
instead.
Instead,
So
hey, you got
here
to
we
have
go.
priorities, brother.
Myth Makers by
Myth makers.
John
Yeah,
Hendricks.
that makes the rest of my books look like a turd.
By the New York Times bestselling award-winning creator of The Faithful Spy.
Oh, never heard of it.
Probably a Bonhoeffer book.
Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, he's got a movie coming out in
I know
December
it
too.
looks good.
It does look good. Hold on, let me see what The Faithful Spy is. But yeah, what's your pull?
Well, this has nothing to do with Spider-Man. You know, Amazing Spider-Man 58.
Oh, dude, it is a Bonhoeffer book.
Really?
The Faithful
About
Spy.
about him?
Yeah,
That is cool.
and it's a graphic novel too.
What? How are we missing these? Now we're never gonna miss them again.
Nope. Because guess what? I'm
I'm gonna
gonna buy
hop on
this
my
too.
Goodreads and just peg this guy, John Hendricks,
Oh yeah, because it's
Jimmy's
got.
brother.
I'm looking at the Hitler depictions and everything, sadly, in it. But yeah,
Ooh, okay then.
the Faithful Spy is a Dietrich Bonhoeffer graphic novel by the same dude.
Oh, I might have to get that too. This is like I'm gonna these. You know, my kids always go, "What can we get, Dad?"
This
There
is
you
what
go.
you can get, Dad, guys.
The problem is Dad will buy it before Christmas. So anyway,
Tell me about Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man 58. They are billing Amazing Spider-Man, the next 3 issues, as being the most violent Spider-Man that they can put and it not have like guts hanging out, like not going to be a red band. So this is John Romita art doing most of the heavy lifting. It is awesome. Tombstone is wanting to take over all the crime that Kingpin left behind, and his daughter Janice, who's the Beetle, I think, is that what she is turned state's evidence against him, and he's basically going to kill his own daughter. And Spider-Man has to jump in, and it is a battle. It is fight scenes for the entire thing, and with Peter, the Spider-Man, getting just the snobby. I mean, Tombstone is like ruthless in this, like trying to kill his own daughter. At the end, at the end of the book, in the last page, you know, Tombstone grabs him and they're heading out a window in a like a skyscraper or what else. And it's funny because he says, "You want to get crazy?" Sounds like. And then
Yeah.
it shows the cover of the next issue, and on the cover it's them crashing through the window, and it's him saying, "Let's get crazy." I mean, it's like, I guess they can't say, "Do you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts."
Right.
I don't know if Peter says I'm Batman or anything in it, but anyway, that it's really good. They're really psyching this up. I think we got 2 more issues for this creative team to be done, and Spider-Man is hitting it on all cylinders right now, which is good because for a while it was
Yeah, I mean
slogging.
it had its lulls.
Yeah, yeah. What else you got?
The final book in Ain't No Grave.
Yes.
Scotty Young. Did you read it?
I did, yes.
Yeah. Uh, Anticlimactic, but at the same point, like I think that's what you're supposed to expect. Um, you didn't think it would be that easy, did you?
I know, yes, exactly. Man.
And I think that's one of the things is like we always expect more than what we can get in stories like this. We expect something like groundbreaking. It's like, no, you're stupid. You just tried to fight death. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
But she does get a glimpse.
she
I
gets
love that.
glimpses,
She
and
gets glimpse of the future.
that's more than she would have gotten. She
Right.
could have had more time where she was, or she could have got a glimpse. But
Exactly.
and you know, I feel like she was missing on purpose.
For those of you who don't know, she's fighting death, and death says, if you can hit me, you win, basically, right?
You'll get a little more time.
You get a little more time. And she
For every
unloads her
time you hit
gun.
me, you'll get a little more time. But
Yeah,
if you when you miss, you're gonna get a glimpse of what you're missing.
that's what it was. Yeah. So she unloads her six shooters and misses every time.
Yeah, it looks
And
like,
so,
and that's what because of where she was shooting and everything. I was
mhm.
like, is she missing on purpose just so she can see her future?
Wow, I hadn't thought that, Hector. What would you do?
A little more time.
What if God did that, said, Hector, you can have a little more time, or I can show you the future. That would be tough because what if the future you see is not a good future?
Yeah, but the current circumstances, she's dying of sickness, right?
Right. Yes.
So do you
Hmm.
want a little more time with cancer? Do you want a little more time with a
Yes.
terminal illness?
Right.
Or do you want to get to see two generations down?
Okay. I got it. Yeah.
It's a tough
Hmm.
call.
It is a tough call.
But I think we
It's a
all went
curtain we don't have to see. Yeah.
yeah. I think we all went into this expecting to see, you know,
She's going to beat death.
she's gonna beat the devil, and then like, sorry, you paid the devil your due. You did not get a
Yeah.
golden fiddle.
You can't know. No, that's right. Yeah. Sorry. Don't go down to Georgia.
But you know what's still great? This book
What?
that's sitting right here is The Me You Love in the Dark. Just saying.
Which I've never read.
I don't know it's your jam, but you might enjoy it. It
I'm
is
going to.
it is a
Yeah.
Scotty Young book, and it is a
Yeah.
weird, creepy, awkward romance between an
A
artist and a
ghost and
ghost.
yeah, I probably would like it. I'll have to watch it, read it. Yeah. All right. Well, my next book is I'm going to do this for CJ and everybody else out there who likes the Ghost Machine books. It's Geiger, issue 6. So I love the Ghost Machine stuff. It's been really cool. We're going to start to get our crossovers happening at the end of the year, I believe. But this is the guy who is post-apocalyptic and he's radiation. He's all radiated and glow. They call him the glowing man. He keeps two cobalt rods on his back to keep his radiation down. But he travels this wasteland with this two-headed wolf or dog. I don't know. And in the last issue or two, the wolf was captured and tortured, basically, almost thought killed. But the wolf has been saved now, and everything's good. But the wolf basically has PTSD, so won't eat, do anything, and the wolf takes off. So this is the wolf's journey in this issue. The wolf
Okay.
takes off and discovers a zoo, basically. You know, like in the Last of Us show when they find that zoo and all these animals are walking around or whatever. I don't know if you remember that. You see the giraffes or whatever. So anyway, there are these animals, but these animals are mutated as well. So there is a gorilla there with 4 arms. And when this wolf walks into this zoo, like where these animals are, there are poachers in there, not poachers, but hunters. And they're getting animals for food or to take back to whatever people will pay them for it. And the gorilla grabs the wolf and he speaks sign language. And he
Hmm.
basically tells the wolf, be quiet. We have to be quiet or this will happen. You know, they'll get us, they'll kill us or whatever. And the wolf just has so much and attacks the men. And when the wolf does, the whole entire zoo follows suit. And there you know what happens. So the wolf then, I guess, gets his mojo back. He goes back to his people, and the people then his people that he's traveling with, they start going by, and then like you fast forward into the future a few years, and there's a thing, someone else passing by the zoo, and they're like, don't go by that zoo. The four-armed gorilla is brutal. So no one now dares enter it anymore because these animals have stood up for themselves, I guess. But it was a good read. I was surprised that I would have that much empathy for a group of animals. But yeah, the gorilla's awesome.
That's
Don't
awesome,
mess with
man.
mutant gorillas. That's
Yeah.
that's what we learned in that. Yeah.
Speaking of, are you got more on that one? Or are you good?
No, that's it. That's it. I'm good.
Um, on that note, speaking of zoos going awry, um, Gotham City Sirens #4,
Awesome.
which was another banger of a book, and I know I mentioned this in my last pull set. Not only was this the best punchline story I've read, um, this did you get to read this one?
I did. Uh-huh.
Okay. We got a nice Harley versus Punchline fight, and she's like, "I know who you are." Like,
Yes.
um, but this was honestly a really good story for the rabbit character.
Yes, which I wasn't familiar with that character.
Me either. Like, so the White Rabbit character that's in this was pretty fantastic.
And
It was,
she has like a doppelganger. She becomes two people, or
yeah,
she
I think it's almost like a reverse Firestorm situation.
got,
Um,
oh, there you go.
where like one lady splits into two rabbit personalities.
Right.
Um, but either way, the dynamic was good. I would watch a TV show of that.
Absolutely.
This was fun. This was good writing. This might be one of Josh Williams's funnest books. Nice little tight 4-issue story. I'm down for it. So not I literally is like, if you like Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, or Punchline, or you just like good storytelling,
That's a great book.
this is a great book. When it's in a graphic novel with 4 issues,
Yes,
it'll be worth your money. Pick it up.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I was surprised because I was like, I mean, it's going to come out every week. It's 4 issues. I picked up the first one and I was like, oh, yeah, I got to have the rest of them. It
I was
turned out
just
to be
grateful I didn't
so good.
re-buy all of them because I almost did.
I know
So
you told me that last time. All right. Well, my next book is World's Finest, issue 31. Um, Mark Waid doing his Mark Wadiest. I like this book because it's got an old school feel. So basically, he's telling
did I tell
stories
you I
that.
caught up on the first 2 volumes?
No, I didn't. No, you
Um,
didn't.
when I flew to North Dakota, I read the first
Oh, you
two
also read
volumes.
something that I was like, that was a terrible read. I can't
Yeah,
remember what it was.
Danger Street.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that's just so confusing.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I read the first two. I bought the first 2 graphic novels of World's Finest and read them on the plane before I read Danger Street.
okay. Well, then I mean, that probably made you go, wow, that World's Finest was great compared to this. It didn't make
Yes.
sense.
Yes, it was.
Well, so for those who don't know, basically Mark Waid is doing stories that have happened for Batman and Superman a while ago, not up to date, but these are stories that happened in their past. So this story starts out with the full Justice League. We're talking Elongated Man, uh, like Green Arrow. I can't remember all who were in there, but there were like 4 or 5 characters from the Justice League, in addition to Batman and Superman. And the Green Arrow's there, Black Canary, Flash. And what happens is Eclipso takes over the members of the Justice League on the Justice League satellite. And Superman and Batman are battling those members and trying to break their hold on them, but they can't do it. The Red Tornado escapes to get help and ends up at the steps of the JSA. So this ends with the JSA sitting around a table. So we're going to get in the next issue probably a great Justice Society story in addition to a JLA JSA team up written by Mark Waid with focus on them battling Eclipso. And I've been reading the JSA book that's been out, and it's just so dang on long and taking forever to come out. I'm ready for a good JSA story. I know Jeff Lemire is going to be writing it, I think, coming up.
Yeah.
But this book has always been good for me, and I love the old school vibe. Anyway, that's it.
Okay.
What else you got, brother?
Zatanna Brings Down the House, book 4.
Okay, so I've heard this is fantastic.
This one was a banger.
Is the house still standing, or did she bring it down?
The house is in shambles. I can't vouch for its structural integrity.
It sounds like my house when all my kids come home for a visit.
But the house is definitely in some disrepair.
Has she started to use magic yet?
Yes.
All right. Give it to me, Hector.
So, and you get something in this that if it's a regular thing, I'm not familiar with it. So a lot of this premise ends up with the fact that at the last issue, John Constantine shows up to rescue her.
Okay.
In this, John Constantine's like, "Hey, you're magic. Stop being stupid." And effectively, Zatanna just is like, "All right, I've got it. Let's go. Let's be a gangster." And she starts using her magic. Then John Constantine portals them away to Paris, and they have a nice romantic weekend together.
That went into fifth gear really fast.
Yeah, apparently they were dating already.
Well, yes, they are an item in and out of DC continuity currently.
Yeah, and
says in the the Superman book about her relationship with she alludes to the relationship with John Constantine in that book. Even.
Right. And which was, I read that after this. So I was like, oh, this is a thing. But this issue, I'd say 30% of it is just them covered by bed sheets.
Oh, well, all right then.
Having conversations.
Because that's what one does, covered in bed sheets.
Yes.
Let's have a talk.
But literally,
what is
it's
the
just
thread count on these sheets?
Yeah, it's that type of stuff. And then it boils
what kind
down
of fabric
to
softener?
They say that her dad is the most fearsome demon in the world, and basically she's got to go take down her dad now.
What? No, I've not heard that. That's some serious daddy issues. That's new.
Yeah. And so,
but it's Black Label, right?
Yes, it is Black Label.
There you go.
Now, I will say this. To be Black Label, it's pretty tame.
Okay.
The most Black Label thing about this is the fact he's smoking. So.
Oh, man. I had 3 books I wanted us to talk about. Maybe we can do that briefly at the end. And one of them is a Black Label book about something in it. But anyway. All right. Well, my next book is Wonder Woman issue 13. So I started collecting Wonder Woman because I thought Tom King was going to do this amazing story about this old grumpy white dude trying to take over the world. And
he is going to do that.
But then Absolute Power took over and it's completely different now. But I loved this. Literally loved it. Have you read it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there are 2 stories in this. There is a Wonder Woman story and then a Trinity story at the back.
Yes.
And so this is Wonder Woman having to break out all of the superheroes and villains that are in their prisons on Gamora Island, and she does it with Damian Wayne. And so Steve Trevor gets out, they have a brief kiss, and then they go, not Damian and Steve, but Wonder Woman and Steve. And then they rescue everyone, and it's really funny because Damian's like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me. Get a hotel room, blah blah blah." And at the end of the next story is Damian Wayne all grown up. Him and John Kent are grown up, and they have Trinity, who's still young, which is Wonder Woman's daughter. And he tells the exact same story from his point of view, how he and her mother rescued all these people. But it's like every other panel, Wonder Woman is making out with Steve Trevor
Yes.
in his story. It's like, that's not how it happened at all. But I thought it was so fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked Damian Wayne in this book. I thought he was written so well by Tom King. So I just thought it was a fun read in the midst of all this absolute power craziness.
Now,
So
and I will say that one of the best things in this is the fact that she was trying to act bulletproof when she
oh,
wasn't.
yes.
And he's
like,
like, baby, you can't stop bullets with just your
No.
forearms.
Yes. And she's like, I probably broke all my arms, but she did stop them, right?
Yeah.
But you could tell she's in pain. It's a great book. Good read.
It was great.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. All right, Hector. One more before the number ones.
Didn't we already do that?
No, I ain't done my number one yet.
I've done 4 books already, dude.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe I did more than you.
Yeah, I've already done 4 books.
I did 5. Sorry. I just took an extra one. Bonus. All right. What's your number one?
Well, my number 1 was The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween.
I know. Just call it The Last Halloween.
You know what? I get that, and they probably should. I'll say this. This felt more authentic than the last Long Halloween thing they did.
I got a different version.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, or a different
Let me see
cover.
it again.
Different cover. I didn't know what the original cover was. Your cover, that is a Tim Sale. That is Tim Sale.
Yes,
he drew
it
that.
is. Yes.
And this is the guy who drew the book.
Yeah.
This is the guy who drew the book. Who, by the way, phenomenal.
Yeah.
He is full on channeling Tim Sale.
It's close enough that you can say this belongs in the same world, but unique enough.
Exactly. Yeah. So give us the lowdown, Hector, because this book is not a book I'm going to collect.
Yeah?
Because I have an issue with, I just can't handle stories that involve certain types of crime.
Noted.
So anyway, go ahead. Tell everybody what goes on.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation before. Well, and 2, I thought it was a unique twist because if they tie that into the future of the DC world.
Yeah, because his son's messed up anyway.
Yeah. So this takes place, correct me if I'm wrong, a year after the Long Halloween.
Oh, he's got Robin with him now.
Yeah. This is a year after the Long Halloween and Dark Victory and all that jazz. And Barbara is still with Jim. They have a young son, and their marriage is obviously on the rocks and everything. And James wanted to be Batman for Halloween, and James is kidnapped or goes missing on Halloween. And then you are just thrown back into the world of the Long Halloween. This honestly feels like it picks up.
It's a gorgeous book, by the way. It's
gorgeous. It feels organic.
I like Robin's basically his dialogue is really good. The dents in it again.
Yeah.
They are there. I loved The Long Halloween. It's great. And the adapted animation is great as well.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It's very good. Very good. I have The Long Halloween in black. I have the black and white version.
Me too.
And got it at Ollie's. Dirt cheap. Good stuff. Dirt cheap. But yeah, so that the kidnapping of children is just it messes with me somehow. I don't know why, but I'm like,
probably because you're not a monster.
Yeah. And you are? What the heck does that mean?
We already covered conscience is seared and stuff, man.
Okay.
I deal with people's dirt every day. So
all right. Well, my number one is Avengers Assemble. It's a miniseries, like a 5 issue. The Long Halloween, last Halloween is going to be 10 issues.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it
And
on my polls. I do want to finish that.
all right, well, you have to tell me how it goes. Um, this book feels just like an old Avengers story. It is so fun. It starts out with Cap having a team going and fighting Red Skull's daughter. And in the meantime, Jarvis is at Avengers Mansion and the rest of the Avengers are coming. Hawkeye has
Oh,
a go ahead.
just remind me after this to bring something up. Go ahead.
All right. All right. And Hawkeye is playing poker, and they've got the people around the table playing poker as they come in. You get some new blood. You get Julie Powers from the Power Pack is some new blood. Night Thrasher is on the team, which is so fun. It's like they bring and he brings when he comes in, he brings a box full of leather jackets. So the old Avenger jackets make a reoccurrence. Um, and it just feels like an old school Avengers book, like a 80s, 70s, 80s Avengers story that could be really fun with a big, huge group back on Avengers Mansion. And I'm for it. It's just 5 issues. Steve Orlando is writing it, and the art's decent, but it's my kind of jam. What did you want to bring up before I
Uh,
want to talk about these 3 books real quick?
you said something that triggered a news I forgot to have notes for.
Uh-oh, what is it?
This week, we got our first MCU
Oh, yes.
canon speaking of Mephisto.
Where?
Mephisto is mentioned by name in Agatha
Oh, yeah, yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
along.
Okay, you're right. But he didn't speak.
No, no, no. But
Okay.
that's the first time that word's been used
In the MCU.
in the MCU.
Okay. All right. Okay, then.
It
I
was
watched them.
Mephisto.
They're okay. And the Thunderbolts
The Thunderbolts
trailer.
trailer was great. You with me? If you're there's Todd.
That there I'm back. Yes. Did you catch I didn't know. I didn't go and read up anything about the trailer or anything like that. I just watched the trailer and Bob shows up. You knew who Bob is.
Yeah.
Dude, the Sentry.
Well,
I don't know.
do you know who was cast as Bob before that guy?
Do I know who the character is or the actor?
The actor who was Bob before this dude was playing Bob.
Oh, I didn't. Wait, now there's a different Bob, right? There's the Bob on. We're talking about the guy on Deadpool.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the one
Okay.
you're talking about.
Oh, I didn't know that there is. What did they switch out actors?
Yes.
Did not know that. No, no clue.
The actor that was originally cast as Bob was Stephen Yoon.
I don't
Uh,
know who that is.
he is the guy who played Glenn on The Walking Dead, and he's
Okay,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
the
this
vo-
is Lewis Pullman.
yes.
So what was the issue with that?
Scheduling,
Okay,
but because he's Invincible, the
he's like,
voice actor for Invincible,
oh, okay.
but he's also there. He had some scheduling conflict, but he was originally cast as uh
I'm actually intrigued now. I was not, but I am now. And it wouldn't surprise me if they don't end up being called the Dark Avengers. Is that right? Is
yeah,
that what they were?
yeah.
This is what this sounds like to me. It was funny. My daughter
That's
Hannah was
what the
like,
asterisk
"What is
is.
this? So what is this? Marvel's Dead Suicide Squad?" I was like, "Okay, maybe they
Yes.
are." All right. I had 3 books I wanted to hit on before we leave. If we got time.
It's our podcast.
All right, man. So
If not, our great editorial team is going to make this magically disappear.
he'll cut it out and they'll just
Yeah.
go with it. Then they'll edit it. So are you reading the Jenny Sparks book?
No, I didn't know who that was.
Okay, so Jenny Sparks was the head of the Authority. She's considered a century baby, and she died at the end of the end of 1999. So Tom King is writing her new story, and it's a Black Label book. We're on issue 2 now.
Okay, I've seen it. It looked interesting.
It's a little weird. It's basically a deconstruction of Captain Atom. is what I think it's going to end up being. You know how he always likes to take some characters and mess around with characters that aren't the A-list characters. But anyway, that's not the reason. Issue 2, for 2 reasons. First of all, you come to find out that the reason she's back is because the world we reawoke her after 9/11, which I thought was a little bit cheesy. I don't much care for that. That's not what got me. She goes to say that she and Superman had a intimate physical relationship. Superman and Jenny Smarks. What do you think about that? Superman and Jenny Sparks. Do you
Is
really
she
care?
of age?
Does it matter? Yes, she is of age. Well, heck yeah, she's a century baby. She's been around. She was born in 1900. So she's 100 years old. Yes, she's of age.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I mean, it doesn't necessarily because
It
I don't
just
have any identification with the character. Like, I
right.
don't know.
Well, I don't. It's not that. It's just the Superman. I think it just felt weird that, like, really, Superman. I mean, I get it, but I didn't know what made Tom King think, let's put that in the book. Why is that in the book? I don't know.
I don't know. It'll probably play something in there.
Making
Now,
more of it than I should.
you might be, but at the same time, who knows? And also, depending like on which world she came from, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and when this was for Superman. But also, do you know, well, you know about Tom King's past, right? Like real world past.
No.
Okay. Why this might make you a little more receptive to the 9/11 thing. Tom King was a CIA agent.
Really?
Yes. And he dealt with 9/11 and terrorist attack stuffs.
Okay. Wow. Well,
Um,
that's what brought her back. That's what jarred her back into. That's what the world did that brought her back, because she was supposed to be just the Century Babies were basically in the Wildstorm universe were considered uh, characters that were born at the turn of the century, and their job was to protect that century. So her job was to protect the 1900s up until the year 2000. And so, yeah. Okay,
but
well, I
yeah,
get it. Makes
so
sense.
that's the thing because he's associated with that world.
Mhm.
Like he probably takes a little closer to the chest. So I would take that from Tom King more than I would take that from somebody else.
All right, good deal. Book number 2. I'm just getting all the controversy here. Uncanny X-Men number 3. So they bring in Nightcrawler, and one of the characters that grabs him calls him a furry, and his response is, "Oh, you think that as a negative? I love the furry community. They throw awesome parties." And that's pretty much it. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm saying it exactly. And that has gotten a lot of people all up in arms because the Catholic character and the furry community, yeah, their parties are magnificent, exactly what was said. So, should we think anything of that, Hector? Or
It's Gail
am I
Simone,
just,
dude. No.
yeah, yeah.
What
It
uh
just felt weird. I mean, I
it
don't know.
felt
It just
weird
felt weird. I don't know. Why would he even say that? I don't know. Why would you have a character say that, call him that in the first place, and then come back and
because she
say,
lives at Comic-Con.
okay, got it. Okay. All right. I'm just touching on all the touchy stuff. Last touchy thing.
But no,
Fantastic.
I don't I was like I thought that maybe that's not the most like in character joke, but I didn't take anything negative from it.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird. I don't know. But anyway, Fantastic 425.
Yeah, this guy. We almost talked about this last week or
I
last
know we
time.
last time we did, yeah, because this book's now 3 weeks old, 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old, or whatever.
3 weeks old, yeah.
Johnny Storm and his relationship with the alien that's entirely not humanoid. It reminds me of
Galaxy
Drax
Quest.
hollering at
Oh,
you who is laying with an Oscavarian,
yes. Fair. It
which is
reminded me of
funny.
Galaxy Quest.
Oh yes, Galaxy Quest, which by the way is getting a 4K DVD release. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm for it. So Johnny Storm is Marvel's Captain Kirk. That's all I got to say about that. Uh, what'd you think about that? Did you think it was absolutely silly? Has it jumped the shark? I think for many people,
Okay, you can't jump the shark when Fantastic Four literally makes business of jumping sharks. I
it's
mean,
true. They jump the
there
shark every. That is what they do.
there is
You're right.
not a single normal book that's been part of their storyline in these last 28 issues or whatever.
You're right. It's
Uh,
been all over the place.
it's been
Yeah,
all over the place, and I don't think that's any out of character or out of pocket stuff, considering what they've been doing all the rest of the time.
right. hmm So Johnny Storm just doing Johnny Storm.
Yep.
It was weird.
It was weird, and I was like, man, I'm kind of sad I'm wasting my money on this.
I
But
know.
it also wasn't the worst story.
No, the story was good. I like the story, and it puts a whole entire thing in perspective of Doom, because what happens is they end up on an alternate Earth, basically, because they try to get into Latveria. Doom has put up a magical dome over it, and Reed even says that he hasn't mastered his Sorcerer Supreme, and he's sending these things away that attack, doesn't even know where he's sending them, and they have to figure out a way to get back and fix everything. So I mean, it's that lays down some foundation also for One World Under Doom as well. But yeah, people were talking about it on the Discord and Love Thy Nerd, and I thought, well, let's just talk about it, see what we have to
Yeah,
say.
we'll float that biscuit, but like, man, these people do have to come up with a reason for us to pay $5 for 30 or for 26 pages of content. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
Oh
gotta
well.
you gotta throw out some shenanigans every now and again.
I'm ready. I hate to admit it, as the resident Fantastic Four fan, I'm down now to just 13 books. That's all I need. 13 books. Um, I'm ready for a new direction. I'm ready for Johnny Storm to lose the mustache. That's just terrible.
Now, but I will say this. This has been, even on the months I or the weeks I don't enjoy it, it's still been the most consistently good Fantastic Four book in my adult reading.
Well, good. I'm glad you like it. It's a silly book many times,
Yes.
not serious like Jonathan Hickman's run. Um, so that's been
But
fun. I
I've
do
not
like.
read this many issues of Fantastic Four in ever.
I think you're just doing it out of friendship for me because you know
That
how much I
there
love the
is a
Fantastic
partial
Four.
to that. I picked up the first issue out of
Because of me.
now I'll have something to talk about with Todd.
Yeah, and now you're like, it's on the bag and board
Yep.
side. All right, that's all I got. You got anything else, Hector?
No, I mean that's kind of it. We're at a threshold of I just want absolute power to be over.
I
I'm
love Absolute Power. Honestly, I think it's a great story.
I want it to be over because I can't get any of the main issues.
You can't what now?
I can't get the main
Oh,
issues.
you waited too long, so now you got to wait till it comes out on trade to read what actually happened.
I've not seen a single copy because they're not buying any extras
Oh, really?
at my shop.
Hmm. I collected the Absolute Power. It's 1 through 4 plus a prequel. I got all of those, and they've been also doing called the Task Force 7, which follows each one of the different Amazos. I got
Yeah.
those, and then I've picked up the regular tie-ins, and yeah, you really need those.
Yeah.
And the Super Sun one, was supposed to be really good. I didn't read it. I would like to get it, but oh well.
Yep.
All right.
That's about it.
Yep, we're ready. It'll be DC All In. That's what's coming up in a
That
month.
is what's coming up. I'm pretty pumped. Pretty pumped. Well,
We're gonna get an Absolute Metamorpho too, and I
I'm
think it's going to be written by Al Ewing, maybe.
I I don't know if it's up your alley, but the actor who's playing Metamorpho in James Gunn's world
Uh huh.
is delightful.
Well, I
Um,
think one of the first comic books that I ever collected, starting at issue 1, was Batman and the Outsiders when it came out. and Metamorpho was part of it. I love the cover where Batman's up there in the Justice League satellite telling him, I've had it with you all. And I fell in love with that character. Metamorpho is a great character.
Well, did you ever see the TV series Barry?
No.
Okay. On Max, there is a show called Barry where I forgot his name at the moment. Brain fart. He's a comedian, SNL person, um, who is an assassin who falls in love with acting.
Okay.
And he
Sounds
wants to
fun.
quit being an assassin
And be an actor.
and be an actor. So he enrolls in community theater taught by Henry Winkler.
Oh, that's definitely a watch. That's fun.
I mean, it's
I have heard
golden.
of that. I have heard of it.
But either way, the guy playing Metamorpho plays a breakout character that is the fabulous leader of the Chechen mob.
The Chechen mob. Nice.
And yeah, it's a whole weird, funky storyline, bro. But like he also was in Gotham, like the TV series Gotham for half a second. I think he was Zaz, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah. So he's double dipping in the DC world already.
All right. We got to love
Well,
the double dipping.
so folks, thank you for taking time to join us and letting us be your semi-weekly, monthly, every now and again source for comic book industry news and storylines. Thanks for commenting in the Discord and on the Facebook community as well. We appreciate you keeping us on track because we do miss some things. Congratulations to Chris Poirier, who
RoboCop.
he completed all of his Popo training, and
I'd buy that for $1.
he is now an officer of the law. Yeah. And we wish him the best with that and hope to hear from him soon. Because Todd's got, adult life to do.
Hilarious.
He was trying to swallow chicken strips as we were getting started because we were cramming a schedule full.
Good chicken. Love chicken.
Yeah, it's good chicken. But thank you for taking time to listen and joining us on this journey of being part of all the podcasts from the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. Remember, you can check them out more on the Love Thy Nerd Podcast channel. You can find us on YouTube, specifically at youtube.com/at the pull list LTN. All the addresses. You can also find us on the Glue Network on your Roku channels, GLU, with some other nerdy and faith-based entertainment and stories. And we'll be back in a couple weeks with some more comics. So remember, kids,
Read more comics.
Bye.